Welcome back. Today I am doing a video which is books that I would recommend if you are new to reading, if you're new to reading romance, maybe if you read like as a child or a teenager and you're sort of getting back into it, or even if you're like in a reading rut and you've read a couple of duds. These are some books that I just think are fabulous and I think everyone should read them. So yeah, let's get started. So, someone's messaging me. My first recommendation is It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This is the first ever Tessa Bailey book that I read. I have read many of her books since then. I think I've read all of her books since this one, but this one still forever remains my favorite. This one and Hook, Line and Sinker, which is the second book in this little 2-book series. So this is, I guess you could call it a small town romance. So it's about 2 sisters, the Bellinger sisters, and they have a pretty flashy lifestyle, like partying, you know, fashion influences, and they get sent to a small fishing town, and it sort of follows their little romantic ventures. That's not the right word. You know, follows their little romantic adventure in this small little town. So this first book is about Piper, Sister Piper, and Brendan, who is a fisherman. And so yeah, just really, really good. I really wish that this series would be made into like a mini series or maybe a movie. No, not a movie. I reckon a mini series. It would be really good. It's just got that really, really cozy small town vibes. This and Hook, Line and Sinker are like my go-to comfort books. There's just something about the writing and like the setting, and it just feels like a big warm hug. And also Tessa Bailey has great banter between her characters. The dialogue is just like 10 out of 10, and the spice. This was one of the first books that I read for like that when I got back into reading that I read with that quite spicy scenes, and I remember just being like, is she allowed to say that? And ever since then, I've just like, the spice level has just like continued to go up, but still this one just so good. The second book is The Deal by Elle Kennedy. So this is a kind of hockey college romance, and this book is good if you want like a bingeable series. So this is one of 5. So the Deal is book 1, then The Mistake, The Score, The Goal, and The Legacy. I've actually only read the first 3, but just I really, really love them. They probably a bit too young for my age demographic. I'm 35, but I still really enjoyed them. A little bit spicy, you know, like great characters, stories, all that sort of thing. So if you want a really good bingeable series, this one's really good. My next recommendation is pretty much anything by Hazelwood. I also love The Love Hypothesis. I don't have my copy of that one at the moment, but if you want smart women, funny women, good writing, good romance, great stories, these are truly like, Hazelwood just writes, she just writes the best books. So this one is Love on the Brain, this one is Love Theoretically, and then also there was The Love Hypothesis. So good. I will always, always, always recommend these books. This is the latest one that I've read, and I actually think this one might be my favorite. So they're women in STEM. So what is that? Science, technology, engineering, maths. That could be completely wrong, but I think that that's what STEM stands for. So good. So good. All right, so the next one I'm recommending is It Ends With Us. Now this book I'm recommending because I think if you want to be part of the cultural phenomenon that is It Ends With Us and Colleen Hoover, and them making this into a movie at the moment with Blake Lively with very questionable wardrobe choices. If you don't know, please look it up. Yeah, I read this when it first came out years and years and years ago, and I really enjoyed it, and then it sort of blew up again recently and I read it again, and that was after I'd sort of seen some of the criticism of her writing, and I can see from both points of view, but at the end of the day, like, it's entertainment. I found it entertaining, even though there were some parts of this book that I was like, but I would still, if you want to be part of the cultural movement that is It Ends With Us, I would recommend reading it. This is not my favorite book of Colleen Hoover's. That will always be Verity. I will stand by that recommendation. Verity is like top tier for me, but that's for another video. The next book I'm recommending is Every Summer After by Carley Fortune. This is a great summer read. It's, even though it's not summer here, it's the middle of winter in Australia. But I really enjoyed the writing style of this one. I enjoyed the story, so it's follows these young kids in their like lake house over these summers, and sort of what happens in their friendships and their relationships that develop, and then sort of then returning back, you know, as adults, and sort of fixing the mistakes that they made. And it's just a really good book. Really like that one. The next book I'm recommending is if you if you don't particularly like a lot of spice in your books, if you want kind of like that closed door romance, which some people definitely do like. So that is Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. So she also wrote The Cheat Sheet, which I read, and When in Rome, which I have not read yet, but I have read this one. And her stories are just so good, like heartwarming, funny, good chemistry, good characters, good story. Really like this one. I'll always recommend this one. The next book I'm recommending is Beach Read by Emily Henry. So pretty much anything by Emily Henry I will recommend, because she writes phenomenal books. This was the first one that I actually read by Emily Henry, and it still remains my favorite one. So this one follows January and Gus. So January is an author, and she goes to, like, is it a lake house? It is like a lake house, to finish writing this book, and she meets Gus, and their relationship is really funny. It's a very funny relationship to read, but just like really good story, really good writing, kind of like that rom-com-y kind of feeling as well. I also really enjoy You and Me on Vacation, and also Book Lovers. So her latest one, Happy Place, I think I kind of got a bit swept up in the hype of that one, but ever since I read it, I haven't really thought much about it. I don't actually think I connected with the characters as much with that one, but I do recommend Beach Read, You, Me, and Vacation, and I think this has a different name in America. You and Me on Vacation. You and Me on Vacation. I'm pretty sure it's called something different in America. And also Book Lovers. So my last recommendation is one of my favorite books of all time, and this book will get you out of a reading rut. It will be a great introduction into romance. It's a little bit spicy, but not really at all. Yeah, not really at all. Like, minuscule spice, but such a great story. The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. This book will always have a very special place in my heart. I know in my last video I said that the Eden series by Devney Perry makes me want to travel to Montana. This book makes me want to travel to Alaska. The amount of times I googled Alaska after reading this, and like just looking at the scenery and everything. This is about a girl, Kala, who goes to stay with her dad in Alaska, who owns a small charter plane company, and she meets Jonah, who was one of the pilots, and this book is just so good. I bawled my eyes out at the end of this book. This is one of those books that like it just unexpectedly just kind of sneaks up on you, and it's actually part of a series. So there's Wild at Heart, Forever Wild, and Running Wild. I do like those ones as well, but like this one is just this book. I love it. So they were my recommendations. If you are sort of getting back into reading, let me know in the comments down below if you do read any of these ones, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.